Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you the SDX demo. We will create a SDX slice and two client slices. Then we stitch client slices to SDX and have them talk via the SDX slice. For this video, I am using the master branch of the CCC repository. Note that previously we were using the TridentConf branch. I think that branch should also work for this video, and the commands should be the same. But it's recommended that to use the master branch because I have made a lot of updates to the code base, and it makes it easier to maintain the code if we can use the master branch. So before I have already doing this video, I have already created a bunch of loads to run the controllers, and I have generated SSHK on those nodes and copied my Genie PAM file to those nodes. So now we start from the first step. First, we deploy the React server on one of the load. We will deploy the React server on node 3. Previously, I have a React server running on the node. I will delete it, and so now everything is clean. We run the React server on this node. This is the first step. The second step, we deploy SIP server and the Plexus server on the SDX node. I have already logged on to the other 4 nodes, 0, 1, 2, 4. And I have downloaded the Java code and installed those libraries and compiled the code. I also installed and pulled the Docker images on those nodes. So what we do is to deploy SIP server here. We set the React IP address to the public IP address of this node, and I have done that. So I have already set React IP address on those 4 nodes. We can set the React IP address. And then we run the SIP server. Since we need to run SIP server on all the nodes, so now I will just run it for all nodes. This will take some time. While we are waiting for it really takes like minutes, several minutes. While we are waiting for these SIP servers, we can continue to other steps. Next, we deploy SDN controller on the SIP server load, on the SDX controller load. Then we deploy SDX controller code on the node. I have already done this, like install the JDK, install Java libraries, download, clone the master branch of the code, and compile the code. I have already done this. So we go to the next step. We create an exogenous nice for the SDX. We will need to modify the configuration file first. The slice name is SDX demo. You can choose your the name for your slice. The SSHK, we need to generate a key pair on this node and set the path. So this will be used by the SDX controller to talk with the virtual machine in the exogenous slice. The safe key is SDX. Don't change this one. We have already have a SDX key pair in the container. Know that so this is just for the demo. For the deployment, we will need to create another key pair for SDX and modify the authority code correspondingly. I can help you with that later. We update the exogenous PAM file path. The IP prefix doesn't matter. We set safe to true because we are using safe authorizations. We set safe in slice and plexus in slice to false because we are deploying those two in containers on the controller load, not in the SDX slice. Note that previously we were using the server in slice parameter, but now we are break this to two different parameters. So if you are using the current trading branch, that will be server in slice. The safe server IP address is localhost. The Plexus server IP address should be the public IP address of the SDX controller load of this node, because this will be used by the switch in the SDX slice to contact the SDN controller, so it should be public IP address of this node. Rack IP doesn't matter, it's not used. Bro related things doesn't matter. We set the number of routers to 2, and we are adding the routers at TMU and UH racks. So that's the configuration file. The server URL, we should change the IP address to 0.0.0.0 because we are running the SDX controller and the client controllers on different nodes. So the other nodes should use, if we should listen to this 0 address so that others can connect to it, where it's public IP address. I think now the safe server should be ready. Okay, we can create the slice for SDX. We can see that there is already a slice created. While waiting for the after the slice is active, we can start the SDX server. While we are waiting for the slice to be active, we can continue with other steps. Next, we go to the authority node. That's the second node here. We also run the safe server. We have already done that. Then we go to this step. We are not doing this now. This is for making delegations to the client. We will come back to this step after we generated a key pair for the client. So next we deploy the SDX client on other loads. First we deploy clients for Alice on the third load. We run the safe server. We have already done this. And then we generate the safe key pair for Alice. The name of the safe key pair is Alice. The safe server is on localhost because we are running using the container. Then we run this command to generate a key pair that has the name Alice. Then we make a query to safe server to get the principal ID of the new generated key. We can echo the principal ID. So now we get the principal ID for Alice. Then we initialize safe sets for the Alice key pair. This is like posting some policies and like connection policies for Alice, and add his access control list that who can talk to Alice. So this tag echo says that the other network with tag 0 will be able to talk with Alice. So we do this. Next, we go back to the authorities and ask the authorities to make denegations to Alice. So these denegations including denegate the SNICE, the IP prefix, and the tag authority and the tag privilege to Alice. We can go back to this step here. Safe server localhost. The user key hash. We copy the user key hash here. And the SNICE name, we will use the SNICE name to client1 demo. The user IP to 19 to 168.10.1./24. The user tag is tag 0. We will have the tag authority to denegate tag 0 to Alice. Then we run this command to make denegations to Alice. So it will have several lines of output. So previously in my previous guide, I said copy and paste each line and do something. We can still do that in this way, but I also generated a script that can do this automatically. Add the token script. So we copy and paste this result in a file called commands. And then we just run the script. So there is some problem. What's the problem? Safe server is localhost bin directory. I think it's safe server. Oh, the principal ID. This is incorrect. Now it worked. Since we already exported principal ID as an environmental variable, so we don't need that in the add tokens file. I think in the code base, we don't have that, so it's fine. So now we have the authority with the delegation to Alice, and we have Alice added those tokens for the delegations to its safe sets. Next, we will create client slice with this command. Oh, wait, I can, we also do this for Bob again. We create a key pair for Bob. Save server to localhost. Create the safe key pair. Query the principal ID. Extract the principal ID. Okay, and we initialize safe sets for Bob. Then we make delegations to Bob. The user tag is the same. The IP address should be 20.1. The slice name is client2 demo. And the user key hash should be Bob's principal ID. So all the rest are the same. Back to the authority and run this. Copy the output to commands. Okay, this is done. Next, we create slices, client slices for Alice and Bob. Before we first have a look at the client configuration file. So the slice name should be client1 demo for Alice. The safe key is Alice. Safe true and the safe in slice flag setting slice false. X genipan file IP prefix. Server URL. This should be the public IP address of this node. And we are creating the node on TMU site. This is this router site. We use this command to create the slice. We do the same for Bob. We first modify the configuration file. The slice name is client2 demo. Slice safe key is Bob. IP address is 20.1/24, and the others are the same. The router site is UH. we can see that there is a SDX demo nice, client demos nice, and the client to demos nice. We will wait for the two clients nice to become active. So next step, after we next we will show how to do the stitching and connection. First, we start the SDX server first. We'll go back to this step. That is after we create the SDX nice. We run start the SDX server. We can also log on to the node and to check the configuration. Also, don't worry about this exception first. I will check it later. So this is, I think, is trying to like post something, post like routing policies. We should be use the single SDX one. So I think there is some configuration problem in the code. I will fix this later. So and this won't matter. This won't matter. Now we have started the SIP server and the two client nices are active. The first one is active. The second one is still creating. We can go back to the we can log on to the node to see detailed logging for the node here. The log is in exoplex.log is this one. There are detailed information. So next we go to the client. We stitch the client to SDX. This IP address is the IP address that will be set to the new interface on this node, and this IP address is the IP address that will be set for the interface on the SDX side. So when we do stitching, we will add a link to the SDX nice, this will result in a new interface on the SDX nice. So that interface will have this IP address 10.1/24. We also do stitching for the second slice for Bob. Note that the IP address should be 20.2 and 20.1. Multiple stitching requests to the same slice to the same SDX will be synchronized, so it's fine to do multiple stitching requests at the same time, but it is not processing this one until it has finished the first one. We can see that it has added a link to the SDX slice for the stitching. And this usually takes 45 seconds for the link to become active. So the stitching for the first has finished. There are still some configurations at the client side. Like after stitching is completed, we configure the IP address to this new interface here automatically and configure the routing. So it's now the stitching for this one is completed. We can run the if config to get the IP address. Oh, it's not on this node. Never mind. We will log on to the node later. So next, we advertise client network's prefix to SDX. Even though we only have a single node in a client slice, imagine that there could be a network behind the SDX node, client node. So the client advertise the IP prefix to the SDX. So this one is the gateway IP address that SDX should use to talk to this network. So here the IP address is 10.2. That's the IP address for the interface on this SDX node, a client node. Oh, should 168. Oh, sure, update. We do the same for Bob, update to 20.1 and 20.2. Next, we request for the link between Alice and Bob's prefix. It says that it got a connection request between these two prefixes, and the routing has been set up for those two prefixes. We also have Bob to request for the connection. There is an exception when we advertise a prefix. I will check this later, but now never mind. I think it's not affecting our result. Next, we will log on to the client node and try to pin the peer load. We pin the peer node. It works. So that's the process. If we are running safe server, running SDX without safe authorization, we can skip all the safe related steps. And we in the configuration file, we set safe to false. We can try that now. We delete the two stitching link from the SDX nice. and we restart the SDX server without save. Then we also set save to false in client configuration file. Then we do stitching. So stitching is working. There is some error. What's that? Also, now there is some problem with the code. So I guess it's not working because it skipped some steps here. So I will update the code now and push the patch to the Git repository later. But for now, I will just modify the code. restart the SDX server. Do the stitching. Then we advertise the prefix. Don't worry about this yet. I will fix this later. Then we link for we send a link request. Oh, I know why it failed, because the Plexus controller has already have those entries. So if we are trying to configure the route again, it will fail. So that is when I restart the SDX server, I need to restart the Plexus controller also. So I didn't do that, so it failed. But if we do that, this should be fine. So for time constraints, I'm not doing that again this time. Hopefully it will work. So that's all. Thank you.